What's up, everyone? It's Ruby here, and I took a little bit of a break to kind of reset myself. I'm still on a break from streaming, but I'm not on a break from making videos, and I figured I would return with a subject matter that is kind of hot on everyone's minds right now, and that's the status of the DC universe. Well, the movie side, anyways. And for those of you who don't know, I am kind of a DC overlord. I mean, I have the entirety of the animated series memorized. I have a lot of comic knowledge, and I'm also a very I'm very good at coming up with stories and being able to turn stories into kind of like a reality. You know, I've never written a book necessarily, but I have a lot of creative ideas in my mind. And I have come up with the way that DC can save itself. Not whatever James Gunn has planned. I'm not talking about that at all. But how DC can actually build a good and stable universe. And actually, this is the same idea that I had when the DCEU first began. I've had this idea for a while, and so I guess you could call this sort of my pitch to DC to hire me. Not that I think that they would, or will, but I do think that there is a way to easily fix this. The key being animation, not live action. Because with animation, there's so much you can do. Now, the one thing about animation that has been the main problem with hindering movie releases of feature films, animated feature films, into theaters and being taken seriously is the fact that people associate animation with cartoons and kids. You would think that we would be past this by now, but Hollywood has yet to catch up. But I think it's getting there. With the rise of Arcane and Cyberpunk and Dragon Age and maybe Assassin's Creed and maybe a Witcher series, like animated series and stuff, there is a lot that is being built up that I think is going to pivot the way that people see animated films and animation in general. Right now, it's seen as for kids, but there are several shows that have slowly edged their way towards not necessarily mature like adult, but mature like not G-rated movies. I mean, even something like Ben 10 Alien Force, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, not really for kids, it's more so for teenagers and above. And then you have Scooby-Doo, Mystery Incorporated, and even My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is a show that has attracted a lot of older audience members. So you have these demographics that are undeniably huge for these communities, for these fandoms, and DC is not an exception to that. DC has a huge animation following. Everybody loves Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and of course Batman Beyond. All of these shows proved that you can have a family-friendly show without it being for kids and without it being for like adults, like, you know, mature and everything. It found that middle ground that touched a lot of great topics and storylines and amazing details without it being against the regulations that they were going by. It was still for everyone and they still live up to expectations. I mean, they've aged so well that I still watch them. The animation hasn't aged. It's still the same shows, and they're still really great. They have amazing voice acting. They have amazing animation. They have amazing storylines. It's all very great. And that is where I would start. I would be like, hey, instead of putting all this budget into hiring big actors and also resetting the universe so many times, how about we pivot to a more profitable area, which is animated feature films. Let's be the ones to pave the path for the success of really good animated films. And this is the way that we do it. We don't necessarily have to completely do animation. Let's mix in some CGI and allow it to come to life, one way would be through how they do Batman Arkham Knight, but also you don't have to necessarily go that far. It doesn't have to be that real, although it could be. But still, we have the budget to be able to animate these kinds of things. So let's go in that direction. And then you might be wondering, okay, if we go in an animated direction and we put all this money into this, where's the storyline? Where are we going to go with this? How are we going to make this come to life? Well, there is a perfectly good solution to this. And I really think that it would work. I really believe that. In fact, I believe it so much that I think that this is the perfect way that it should go. So, you start out by introducing the trilogy. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, in their own respective films. You tell their year one stories or their origin stories, get that out of the way. It doesn't even have to be their origin stories. It could just be setting up their characters, they're in their situations. Maybe they're opposing their main enemies, like Lex Luthor, Joker, Cheetah. Or it doesn't have to be Joker. It could also be Ra's al Ghul, Harvey Dent. Either way, you set up their characters as individual people. And then, at some point, you focus on building each of their stories, their trilogies. You have a Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, each are having their own trilogies. And at the end of each of their trilogies, they find a way, it kind of hints towards the connection between all three of them. Maybe there's a common denominator. And it leads to all three of them meeting in one movie. In a way, Batman versus Superman, but not that. They team up together, not against each other. And I think that is the key. Or we can go world's finest direction, sure. But either way, they team up together, and now they are together, and they decide, there's this big threat that is coming to Earth. We need to team up together. We need to make a team to make sure that this doesn't happen. Superman and Wonder Woman make this proposal, and Batman kind of begrudgingly agrees and accepts to help them. Not necessarily be a part of the team, but to help them make this team happen. And then, they recruit the people that become the core 7 members of the League. Now, there's a lot of lineups that you could go with this. You could go, Cyborg, Aquaman, that kind of thing. I would go in the Justice League and the animated series direction because it gives you a perfectly diverse cast with a lot of different powers. And so you go with that direction. You go with Hawkgirl, Flash, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and you have their team assembled, and now they are getting ready to kind of each one of them, by the way, each one of them should either have their own solo movies or kind of team ups, kind of hidden behind the big names to make sure that they perform really well. It's very easy to follow. You know, Hawkgirl could team up with Green Lantern. You could have Flash have his own movie because he does have that pull. And then you have like Martian Manhunter maybe teaming up with Superman. You have like different duos kind of forming each other, kind of building that essence of Justice League. And then we have this threat of this big bad. And we get the small hint of Darkseid. Small hint of Darkseid who's getting ready to kind of invade Earth. Or something like that. And so now we have a reason to expand the team. We need to be ready to face Darkseid because we know that he is a big threat and we need to be able to stop him. Or we don't go Darkseid direction. We go instead the Injustice League direction, where Lex Luthor, Joker, Cheetah, all these people are teaming up together, and now we need to have a full team to stop them. All of these characters have their own villains, have their own lineups. You could easily have it so that they are battling their own people. Maybe there's a threat of nuclear destruction. There's so many ways to make this story interesting. There's so many storylines to follow that you could really pull this together to make it interesting for a movie audience without it getting, losing its traction. And with all this, with high budget animation, with quality animation, you can be sure that you have people going to theaters, watching these movies. Maybe they bring their teenagers. I would not rate it G. It is not G. I would rate it PG-13. PG-13 is very reasonable. PG-13, you can get away with a lot of things without it being R-rated. You don't need to be R-rated, although you could. You don't need to be R-rated, you need to be PG-13. And all of this could also, technically speaking, incorporate other comic book storylines, especially the main pivotal moments, like Crisis on Infinite Earths, Flashpoint, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, Identity Crisis, all the crises. You could easily integrate them into the same kind of thing. Just put them where they would normally go. But before we get to that part, we would make sure to recruit even more members. We don't even have to show each and every single member. What you would do is that at the end of the first Justice League movie, you would show there's people all over the world. You would kind of hint at these different characters all over the world. You could hint towards Power Girl. You could hint towards I don't know. you can hint towards a lot of people. Captain Marvel, Shazam, I suppose. The Marvel family, there's Black Canary, there's Birds of Prey, Gotham City. There's so many things that you could hint to. You could easily select a set of characters to kind of have tease at the very end. And then you could even do a wide shot of all these heroes coming together in the Hall of Justice, kind of just hanging out with each other, and that's where you set up the pull, because now every comic book fan is fascinated by this. There's so many people, so many characters to explore, and you don't even have to do movies for all of them. You could even have pivotal moments like Death in the Family, The Killing Joke, Birds of Prey, Gotham City Sirens, Blackest Night. You could go that route, because what ultimately matters is kind of just the flow of continuity. You can introduce Oracle. You first introduce Batgirl, and then she becomes Oracle, and then she mentors someone like Stephanie Brown or Cassandra Cain, and you have her storylines. You basically pull all of your source of material and put it into animation, because that is what DC does best. And it doesn't have to be like the exact storylines. Take Young Justice, for example. A great example of something that does not follow the source material 100%, but does it in a way where it works for its universe. Fans don't need a 100% accurate interpretation of comics. They need something that makes sense, that you can follow, that introduces really interesting characters, and you can literally grow this whole universe. You can have a Lobo movie, you can have Blue Beetle, you can have Cyborg, you can have a Teen Titans movie. You can have so many films that it's not even funny, and you can guarantee you make the money that you want to make in the box office, because all of the comic book fans would show up because they love this shit. And even further than that, you can turn these movie success into Blu-ray copies and sell them, and sell a lot of them. And you make enough movies, you can sell a lot of them, and you can make it in you can stream them too. You can have HBO memberships, and everything. The key is to give the fans what they want. And you might be saying, hey, with voice acting, people, you can't get those big celebrities to like sign up, or those big actors to sign up. That's not true at all. The key is that celebrities love voicing characters in animations. We know this. We know this already, because we know that they've done it before. Ask Katy Perry, ask Dwayne Johnson. They love voicing these characters, and you could easily get them to do so. You could have a Henry Cavill voicing Superman. It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you tell these stories, you show these characters, you give them the love that they deserve, and fans will support it easily. 1,000%. And that's my ideas for how we could easily save the DC universe and turn it into something people can really appreciate and even admire, and they bring back the glories of DC animation. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.